Well, g'day fishos, Brent from Tackle World Port Stephens, and we're back at it, ready to rock, stores open. Firstly, thank you to everybody that supported us over the last couple of months while we're in lockdown. Obviously, we had the store semi-open, couldn't let you in, but we could serve you from the front door. You could click and clack and click and collect, whatever you could do there. And we also had some support outside as well through our internet, so we really, really do appreciate it. So we're back open, which means our fishery reports are back weekly, that's for sure. Let's get into it. So, Port Stephens Estuary is on fire at the moment. There have been so many good fish caught over the last week, that's for sure. We'll begin with the Flatties. So if you've been following our Instagram page, you would have seen some cracking flathead we've been putting up there. Some absolute beauties. Port Stephens is renowned for big lizards, that's for sure. So firstly, Wayne Coles, 105 centimetre flatty. I know he's been chasing that unicorn for a little while. Wayne's a local fella, really nice guy and a good fisherman to boot. Pretty quiet, but he gets some really, really big fish. Released that big donkey of a fish, or unicorn we call him now. It's an absolute cracker. Jamie Culver caught one, 90 centimetres. Paul from Port Stephens Estuary Chart as well, no surprise from him, 97 centimetres. So there's been some absolute beauties over the 90s, plenty of 80s as well. So Short Andrews, he got a cracker last week in the 80s. So some beautiful flathead around. The good thing is they're all being released, those big girls, so which is good to see, that's for sure. But there's plenty of other smaller flathead around, which is good news. Plenty of those 40 to 50 centimetres that are really good eating as well. So keen on your flathead fishing, get out there and throw some soft plastics. I know the top of Tilligary's been fishing really well. There is a bit of that winterweed, or a lot of people call it snotweed, still around, but it's starting to move about with the bigger tides. You'll just have to work through it. It is a bit of a challenge. It gets on your soft plastic or your hard body, but just check your hard body and soft plastic regularly. But the flatties are laying to the side of it, so get ready and get out there and get amongst the flatties at the moment. North Arm Cove's got a few nice flatties as well, so go and give it a crack. Excuse me, early morning. Go and give it a crack on the flatties at the moment. Mulloway have also been pretty strong in the bay as well. You have seen some more photos on our socials as well. Young Joey Trinkley's been catching plenty of dewies on the soft vibes. We put one up of Jaden Harvey with a metre 30, so there's plenty of good Mulloway around at the moment. So if you're keen on doing that, the usual haunts back at Soldiers Point there on the island, Fame Cove. So plenty of Mulloway about. Biggest key, fish those tide changes. That's the biggest key to catching Mulloway, is the tide changes. The other thing that's coming on in the bay are the sand whiting. Plenty of sand whiting getting about. I've been selling lots of live worms. Your sand whiting definitely prefer that incoming tide, that warmer water, and also those shallow flats, but you've got to fish really light for them. 4 pound leader, really light sinker, and just sort of lay it up into the shallows there. You can do that land-based, any of our beaches around the back of Soldiers Point there. Fish really well for whiting, back over towards Taylor's Beach as well. So most of the bigger whiting have been in the upper estuary at the moment. So keen to give that a go. That'll beat the go on the whitings. Crabs around too. Blue swimmers are starting to happen. I've got plenty of traps in at the moment, so keen on doing that. Plenty of feed of blue swimmers around, and with the bigger tides, I reckon it's better as well. So that's a wrap up of the estuary at the moment. It's on fire. Get out there and get amongst it. Although the westerly wind on Saturday looks like it might beat us, but Sunday looks like the better day. So give that a crack in the bay. Now on the beaches and the rocks. Beaches have still had plenty of bream on them. Heaps of bream around at the moment. I know the Fingal Spit's been holding plenty of bream. Samurai's been holding plenty of bream. The northern corner of 1 mile's been fishing pretty well there too. So if you're keen on your bream off the beach, now is the time. I reckon it's probably a little bit late for them. Normally it's sort of mid-winter, but they're still hanging in there. There's the odd whiting on the beach as well. The water is still a bit cool, unfortunately, with those big nor'easters we've had the last couple of days. It does cool the water down, but there are bream on the beaches, live worms. They're the ticket, that's for sure. Salmon, plenty of salmon around. If you want to go for a spin in the gutters, you'll catch plenty of salmon at the moment, the odd tailor as well. I don't mind coming up to the next full moon, especially in November. Is a really good time to catch Mulloway off the beach, so give that a crack as well. On the rocks, some good fish off the rocks at the moment. Plenty of drum around with that cooler water. If you're keen on spitting, there are salmon and tailor off most of the points, especially Oney Point there down to the south, or Middle Rock as well. And you'll also find there's a few kings around. This time of year, springtime, you do get a few big kings up in the shallow. So if you're keen on throwing a stick bait around, trying anywhere up around Fingal, back down to Rock in all those areas, you'll find that there'll be a few kings around. Definitely some good snapper off the rocks at the moment. Plenty of pan-sized snapper, the good eating size. but there are some bigger models in between. So if you're keen on doing the snapper thing, that first light and last light is the only way to go to catch snapper off the rocks. A few ludrick around as well, so if you're keen on doing that, lots of good ludrick around, especially down off Cemetery Point there at Barooby. So there you go. All in all, beaches and rocks fishing okay still on those winter species, but there are some good kings around at the moment, and they will get better as we move later into spring. Now, the offshore scene, well, we've had a 3 nautical mile limit the last few months, but anyway, that's all lifted now, so you can go further afield, and there has been some really nice snapper in the shallows. Brett's been getting some absolute donkeys, floating baits down at Burley Trail, some beauty, 7 kilo fish, so some nice reds around in the shallows there. Johnny fished down south there, down towards Rocky, got a 90 centimetre snapper, so that's absolute beauty. So I don't mind this time of year for a few nice reds. And you'll find a mixture of reds in the shallows, but also out in the deeper water as well. Might find a couple of trags starting to sneak around, so you never know, you might see a few trags starting to tick it up on some of those common reefs, like the 21, the outer V, and the big gibber. So there's a few fish around on the outside on the offshore thing. The Saturday looks a bit iffy, but Sunday looks good for it. Looking further afield, we've got a good altimetry line and current break to the north of us there. It is a little bit of a run, it's about 35 miles. Spoke to some longliners, there were yellowfin and lots of yellowfin in them as well. So they had plenty of yellowfin, 35, 45 kilo models. So some good yellowfin there, some bigger ones in the mix as well. A couple of striped marlin as well. And we're getting that time of year where that first push of good water comes down. We do see an early striped marlin, although I think you'll put the effort in for it. You may catch 1 or 2 if you're willing to go and do it. But to the north, that altimetry line, the current break looks really good. If you're keen on chasing yellowfin, I know down south it's been a crazy bite on the inshore there. Our yellowfin will be on the shelf there, but if you're keen on doing that, I think it will be worth a run on Sunday. Either way, troll some lures, and I reckon you'll run into a striped marlin, that's for sure. Anyway, there's our fishing report. We're back at it. We're back open. We've got everything happening. So there you go. Enjoy your weekend and get out there fishing.